If we want to start taking great photos and start learning, you need a window and a phone. That's it. Hi, my name is Francesco Sapienza. We are with B-Flat World, and we're gonna talk about how lighting is so much more important than your camera. I wanna style a photo with these croissants. We got one light source, which is right here. This could be a window. This could be a small window or a larger window. The important thing is that there's only one light source, because then we know what's going on and we can control it if we need to modify it. All right, so let's style this. And I want to find something appealing for the eye, and then take this shot with both my iPhone and with a professional camera. I want to have the lines of the surface, since they are visible, I want them to be parallel to the frame. In this case, they don't have to be, but in this case, I think it's going to be nice. And then I'm going to angle this in such a way so that it's pleasant to look at. Since they have powdered sugar on top, we could actually make this slightly more interesting if we sprinkle some powdered sugar everywhere here. So something like that. That's nice. And if we wanted to, we could also have this guy. But that shows that there's been an action there. And now I'll test this shot. So the iPhone or any other smartphone you may use is on a stand, because I have my hands free and I can work on this. I think I'm pretty happy with this one. Snap another one. Let's now change the light and see what happens to this photo. If we look at these croissants, they look nearly as good as before. And I haven't changed anything in the image, only the lighting. And that's key. So basically, I have changed two things. I've changed the direction of the light that came from the side before, and now it's coming straight down. It's coming from the same direction as the camera. And also, this light is hard, so there is no diffuser, so you're gonna see the hard shadows there. And now I'm gonna snap the photo. Now the question is, okay, what if I use a professional camera? A very expensive camera that is made to take great photos. And with this lighting, I'm gonna show you that the photo is gonna look as bad as this one. So the camera has no impact on the photo unless the lighting is great. All right, so now I'm gonna take this camera. This is about, I would say, close to $6,000 camera and lens. It's a very good lens. It's a zoom lens, but it's a very good lens. And the camera is a very good camera. So I use this professionally when I shoot food. And now let's take the same photo with this camera and see what happens. I want to frame an image that looks very similar to this one so we can compare. All right, so I'll snap this image with the professional camera. Now, I want to keep the camera where it is, and I want to change the light and see what happens when a light that is not as good as this one, what happens to the photo when a light not as good as this one is used. So this is more or less the light that we had before with the iPhone. Shoot the image. So once again, the light is coming straight down, same direction as the camera, something that you never should do in food photography. And also it's not diffused anymore. It's exactly the same setup I had earlier with the iPhone. Let's look at these images. Let's try and frame exactly the same photo, which is somewhere, I would say, here. This is good enough in terms of composition, they're close enough. Here we have the iPhone photo. We can see that there are difference in terms of light. We can see that it's the blacks, the dark areas are a bit darker here to start with, because I haven't applied any changes to the Sony photo. And that's something that happens because the iPhone will actually balance the exposure. What happens is that the camera, if you're shooting RAW, it's gonna capture whatever is there, and whatever is there is something like this. The phone is actually smarter because the phone will capture more images and then combine them so that there is not a big change. So in cases when there is a lot of light on one side and a lot less light on the other side, so there's a big difference in exposure between two areas in the photo, the phone is going to actually balance that and make something that is more uniformly properly exposed. That doesn't happen with a professional camera. So that's actually an advantage. But anyway, we can tweak all this a little bit more. So if we want, we could just decrease the shadows in the camera, in this camera here. And it's not a drastic change, it's just a small change. And now we are super close. Of course, the resolution is going to be different. So if we zoom in, we might see some differences. But overall, actually, you see that the highlights on this photo, they also need some adjusting like we did in the iPhone photo. So I would probably bring them up that way. So now we get to something which is really, really similar. And that's the proof that you can shoot a great photo with a smartphone and doesn't even need to be the latest iPhone or Samsung or whatever that is. Just, I would say, if it's not older than 3 years, and I doubt there's people with phones that are older than 3 years, you're good. And this gap, if there is one, is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as technology advances. The last thing I wanted to show is what happens to the photo shot with this expensive camera, but with bad lighting. And now look at this. That's an expensive camera with bad lighting. The photo is bad. It's as simple as that. And if you're not happy with a $6,000 camera, you can go for a $10,000 or $15,000 camera. The result is not going to change because lighting is what makes the difference. If we compare the iPhone with good lighting and the Sony with bad lighting, the iPhone wins, of course. So lighting will determine how good a photo is. And then of course there are other things like composition. You need to, if you want to create something pleasant for the eye, you need to compose the photo. But the first impression is given by the lighting that you're using. And it's a lot easier to tweak the composition once your lighting is good. And as I said, you can do this photo here, so iPhone or Sony, just with a window, and you'll get the same result. If we want to start taking great photos and start learning, you need a window and a phone. That's it. If you don't have a window, which could happen, could be the case, then you need to find a light source that works. But you definitely don't need a $6,000 camera to start taking great photos. Thanks so much to V-Flat World for giving me the opportunity to share some advice about food photography with you. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.